What's up, everyone? We are back at it today, and we're tackling one of the most debated topics in the off-road and overland community: front-end lighting. If you've been following our rig builds, you already know we are incredibly particular about how we light up the trail. We don't just want blinding brightness that washes out the terrain, we want usable, strategic light that actually helps us drive safer. Recently, we've been running the XP Ultra pods on the corners of our bumper, but the center of our bull bar still felt like a massive dark spot. That led us to a heavy-hitting matchup between two 7-inch powerhouses from the same brand, the Auxbeam V Ultra and the Auxbeam V Max LED pod lights. Both are fighting for that prime real estate on the front of your rig, but they serve two entirely different purposes. We've put both sets through their paces on pitch-black forest trails and high-speed cross-country drives to figure out which one actually deserves your hard-earned cash. We'll put the updated prices and purchase links down in the description for your convenience. Subscribe if you haven't already, and let's begin. Let's talk about what happens when you actually crack these boxes open, because Auxbeam is clearly stepping up their presentation game. When we opened the V Ultra box, we were greeted with a rather bold "You are important" message printed right on the packaging. It's a small touch, but combined with the thick, high-density foam keeping everything locked in place, it immediately sets a premium tone. The V Max, on the other hand, leans a bit more utilitarian in its packaging, but it still arrives incredibly well protected with no loose parts rattling around. Neither of these feel like those cheap thrown-together kits you often find floating around the internet. Once we got both sets of 7-inch pods out on the workbench, the physical presence of these things was undeniable. 7 inches is no joke when you're mounting them on a bull bar, and both models carry a weight that immediately gives off a sense of serious quality. The housings on both the V Max and the V Ultra are constructed from thick aluminum alloy, avoiding that brittle, cheap plastic feel that plagues budget lights. We also really appreciate that both models feature deep, aggressive cooling fins on the back. When you're pushing this much wattage, thermal management is what keeps the LEDs alive. Neither of these designs feels overbuilt just for the sake of looking tough. They feel purpose-built to survive heavy vibrations, jarring impacts, and long, hot night runs without frying the internals. But this is where the physical similarities end and the engineering philosophies drastically split. The V Max is designed to be your primary long-distance trail puncher. Looking closely at the front lens of the V Max, you'll see a very specific LED formation. 9 central LEDs dedicated entirely to a main spotlight beam, flanked by 3 side shooter elements on each side. The idea here is to throw a massive, concentrated column of light straight down the trail while giving you just enough peripheral spill to see the tree line. Compare that directly to the V Ultra, which is all about dominating your immediate surroundings. The V Ultra utilizes a pure amber setup with a combination spot and hyperbeam, heavily relying on its side shooter elements to aggressively fill in the extreme edges of your vision. While the V Max wants to show you what's half a mile away so you can plan your high-speed line, the V Ultra wants to make sure you see the deep washout or the deer sitting right next to your front tire. Both feature thick, clear, and exceptionally well-sealed lenses, and the V Ultra even includes snap-on protective covers right in the box, which is a fantastic addition if your local vehicle inspection laws are strict about uncovered auxiliary lights on the highway. When it came time to mount these up, we were relieved to see that Auxbeam included proper plug-and-play wiring harnesses for both models. We absolutely hate cutting, splicing, or guessing wiring routes when we're already juggling a dozen other modifications on the rig. The connectors on both harnesses feel weather-sealed and solid, with plenty of cable length to reach from the bull bar, through the firewall, and comfortably into the cabin. The switch setups, however, operate a bit differently depending on which model you choose. The V Ultra gives us a very clean 2-button switch panel, one button for the main amber light and one specifically for the amber DRL. The V Max gives us access to 3 different lighting modes, including its own amber DRL and backlights. We tuck the switches right on the center console where they're easy to reach but impossible to bump by accident. To us, that matters more than it sounds. Nothing kills your confidence faster than your lights flickering off because your knee tapped a cheap switch on a bumpy trail. Mounting the heavy 7-inch pods to the standard bull bar brackets was straightforward for both, but we highly recommend taking extra time to dial in the alignment. Because the VMAX has such a focused central spot beam, even a fraction of an inch of misalignment will throw the beam into the trees instead of down the road. Once we tightened the sturdy hardware down, neither the VMAX or the V Ultra had any wobble or flex. They sit planted and give the rig a highly aggressive look. So how do they actually behave when the sun goes down? This is where our critique gets real. When we fired up the VMAX on a pitch black forest trail, we were genuinely surprised by the beam pattern. For what is essentially a budget-friendly pod, the optical shaping is exceptionally clean. It doesn't have that messy, scattered, blinding output you usually see at this price point. The 9 central LEDs punch deep into the darkness, giving us a very comfortable, confidence-inspiring view of the road ahead, while the side shooters provide just enough spill to balance it out. The sights don't overpower the center beam, which drastically reduces eye fatigue on long drives. But when we swapped over to the V Ultra, the driving experience changed completely. The V Ultra's amber light absolutely swallows the immediate area in front of the truck. It completely lights up the dips, rocks, and ditches that the VMAX narrow beam might overshoot. When we compared the V Ultra to our stock headlights, the difference in sheer unusable coverage was staggering. Now remember, we are running these alongside our existing XP Ultra pods. When we pair the long distance throw of the VMAX with the XP Ultras, we get a beautifully balanced setup. The XP handles the ditches and the VMAX handles the horizon. But when we pair the V Ultra with the XP Ultras, it turns the entire front hemisphere of the vehicle into an impenetrable wall of amber daylight. It really comes down to whether your specific driving style requires extreme distance or total blanket coverage. We also have to talk about the daytime driving lights. Since our rig is an older model that didn't come with factory DRLs, both the VMAX and the V Ultra breathe some much-needed modern life into the front end. The amber DRLs on both pods give the rig a clean, premium, and purposeful look during the day, without being obnoxious to oncoming traffic. When it comes to durability, both sets of lights boast a strict IP68 weatherproofing rating. We've driven through deep, muddy puddles, subjected them to heavy rainstorms, and even blasted them directly with a pressure washer after a weekend trip, and we haven't seen a single drop of condensation or fogging inside neither housing. The paint finish on both the VMAX and the V Ultra is holding up perfectly, with no fading, chipping, or dull spots from the thermal heat. These are exactly the kind of lights you install once, tighten down, and completely forget about until you flip the switch. So after putting both of these heavyweights through their paces, which one should you actually bolt to your rig? If you're an overlander, a desert runner, or someone who does a lot of high-speed cross-country driving at night, the Auxbeam VMAX is easily one of the best budget pod lights on the market. It gives you the deep, focused throw you need to see obstacles well in advance, and the clean beam pattern punches way above its price bracket. However, if you're a rock crawler, a slow trail explorer, or you frequently drive in poor weather conditions like heavy dust, snow, or fog, the Auxbeam V Ultra amber coverage is unbeatable. It covers literally every inch of your immediate surroundings and gives you the maximum situational awareness required for technical, low-speed driving. Both are fantastic, dependable options that don't try to impress with useless gimmicks. They just do exactly what they're engineered to do, and they do it exceptionally well. That is our comprehensive breakdown of the Auxbeam VMAX and V Ultra LED pod lights. We'll put the purchase links for both models down in the description so you can check the latest pricing and decide which beam pattern fits your specific build. If you have any questions about how we wired them up or how they compare to our XP Ultra pods, drop a comment down below and we'll get back to you. Make sure to hit that like button, share the video with your trail buddies, and subscribe to the channel if you want more gear reviews and rig updates on your feed. Other than that, we hope you all have a simple day. Peace.